If you're looking to start a small business or are already running one, superannuation can be very tricky. So in this video, I want to help you get sorted so you can keep your employees happy. Hi guys, my name is Michael and I'm an accountant from Australia. From my experience working with clients, small business owners, superannuation can be one of the most neglected and most misunderstood employer obligations. So in this video, I'm going to show you how you can simplify your superannuation affairs. In Australia, the government has made it so that all employees are eligible to receive superannuation on their wages and salaries. This includes all full-time, part-time and casual workers. But what about contractors? Be careful here because some contractors are entitled to super. Generally, you need to pay a contractor super if you're paying them wholly or principally for their labour. So that is, if at least 50% of the contract you have signed with them is for their direct labour. The superannuation guarantee is calculated based off an employee's base earnings, also known as ordinary times earnings. This includes things such as your ordinary wages and salaries, commissions, allowances, but it doesn't include overtime. The current super guarantee rate is 9.5% of the ordinary times earnings. However, as at 1 July 2021, this will be going up to 10%, so be ready for that. The government has also stated it intends to increase the super guarantee rate in the future up to 12%. One thing that lots of employers get wrong is that you need to choose a default super fund. This is officially called an employer nominated fund, which is where you're going to pay your super contributions to by default. That is, should your employees not choose which fund they want their specific super paid into, this is where you're going to pay it. Which leads us to giving your employees a choice of super fund. When you hire new employees, you need to figure out whether or not they are eligible to choose their own super fund for you to pay their super into. Employees that are eligible are those that are hired under a federal award or a former state award. Also, anyone that is employed by a company that doesn't require the company or them to pay the super into a specific fund. Also those that are employed but not under any arrangement, including contractors. So once you figure out if an employee is eligible, you need to provide a standard choice form within 28 days of them commencing employment. On this form, you give your employee a chance to nominate a super fund of their own choosing, and you also need to state which is your default super fund. It is also important to note that you as an employer are not allowed to influence their decision by any means, whether that's giving a bonus or an incentive or anything along those lines. This must be a 100% choice of their own. Super is due to be paid at least quarterly. The latest due date for super is the 28th day of the month following each quarter. So for example, the January to March quarter, the payment for this super is due by the 28th of April. And again, for the April to June quarter, the payment is due for the 28th of July. The rules in Australia are very strict and you can be penalised if you're only a day or two late. It's also important to note here that the law states that the funds have to actually have arrived in the employee's super fund by the due date, not just when you have paid it. So it is best to give yourself about a week or so before the actual due date to ensure that you're lodging on time. The ATO have invested heavily into online software and infrastructure to make it as easy as possible for small business owners to be compliant with their payroll and superannuation. If you're a small business owner with less than 20 employees or less than a $10 million turnover, you're eligible to use the ATO's Small Business Super Clearinghouse. This is a free solution provided by the ATO to try to help small business owners to make super compliance as easy as possible. Every quarter, all you need to do is make one single payment to the Small Business Super Clearinghouse, and from there they split out the money to each individual employee's fund. Its aim is to cut the cost of compliance and any red tape to make it as simple as possible for Australian small business owners. But you can also use your online accounting package as long as it complies with the SuperStream standards. My favorite to work with is Xero because of its beautiful user interface and simplistic reporting. This will also help you comply with single touch payroll, which is where you send your employees' payroll information to the ATO each time you pay them. This became compulsory for all small businesses from 1st of July 2019. So if you do all of the things correctly, you will be eligible to claim a tax deduction for any superannuation you paid during the year. However, if you don't pay on time or if you don't pay the correct amounts, you can get hit pretty heavy with additional interest, penalties, fees, as well as not being able to claim that tax deduction. So make sure you get on top of your super. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you're a small business owner, you will find value in the video that's just popped up in the card above, where I outlined the new rules for the instant asset write-off. If you found value in this video, I'd also appreciate you subscribing to the channel.